Welcome back to the Fantasy Academy Week 13 Start Sit video. It has been a crazy season so far with the pandemic and games being canceled and rescheduled, and this week the Steelers and Ravens have moved their game about 3 different times. Players have joked about just getting their best Madden players together and settling it that way. And it's just been a wild NFL season and wild fantasy season as well. So my best to all of you out there trying to compete for the playoffs. I know in a lot of my leagues it's been just sometimes frustrating season. Players don't perform the way you thought that they would, and that's how it shakes out in fantasy. So like I said, this is the Fantasy Academy Week 13 Start Sit video. Go ahead and give the Fantasy Academy a follow. It really helps our channel grow, and we want to keep putting out great content for you all. I'm going to be talking through quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends that are more of the fringe type players that you might want to throw in your lineup if they have a good matchup, or a player that you're definitely going to want to keep off your lineup if they don't have a favorable matchup. So with that said, let's get straight into it with quarterbacks. My first quarterback you need to get in your lineup is Taysom Hill, going against a 32nd ranked defense against quarterbacks, Atlanta. Taysom Hill should have a great week against them. He's proven that he can be a solid fantasy quarterback so far through 2 games. So get Taysom Hill in your lineup. Then we've got Kirk Cousins going against Jacksonville, another horrible defense against quarterbacks this season. And Kirk Cousins has proved himself to be a reliable fantasy quarterback, at least in 2020. So he didn't have Adam Thielen last season, but he found Justin Jefferson a lot, and he's finding a way to put up fantasy points for managers each week. So get him in your lineup. Then we've got Baker Mayfield going against Tennessee, which surprisingly they don't have a great defense. They're ranked great defense against quarterbacks. They're ranked 29th going against quarterbacks this season. And Baker Mayfield, he found a really strong connection with Jarvis Landry last week. And the Browns are just looking really good with that strong run game of Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. Teams are having a real hard time figuring out whether they should load the box or cover the pass, and it's opening things up for Baker Mayfield, and it's definitely going to do that in Week 13 for him. So make sure to have him in your lineup. And then quarterbacks you're going to be sitting in Week 13, Alex Smith going against Pittsburgh. Alex Smith has been an amazing story this season, but Week 13 is not going to be an amazing story for Alex Smith. So against this Pittsburgh defense, so keep him out of your lineup. And then we've got Matthew Stafford going against a really strong defense against quarterbacks in Chicago. So Stafford doesn't have Kenny Golladay. As far as we know, he's not going to have Kenny Golladay in Week 13. And he just hasn't been strong all season. He's just kind of been mediocre. A lot of people thought Stafford was going to have a huge season. He looked great in the beginning of last season and then got injured. People thought he was going to come back and just, be a star, and just hasn't gotten there. Maybe it's Matt Patricia, maybe who knows what it is, but he hasn't been great this season as a lot of people wanted him to be. And then we've got Drew Lock going against Kansas City. Kansas City has been strong against the pass all season. And with the Broncos coming off of just a really weird week where they had a guy who kind of played some college quarterback, behind center for them because all their quarterbacks got COVID. I just don't see Drew Lock or whichever quarterback Denver throws in to have a really good week against Kansas City. So I say sit Denver's quarterback as well. It's probably going to be Drew Lock. And let's move on to running backs. Definitely get David Montgomery in your lineup. He's going to be really strong against this Detroit defense, which is ranked last against running backs in 2020. He had a big Week 12, David Montgomery, so he's got some momentum going right now, and he's going against a really poor defense, so get him in your lineup. Then we've got Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. I say throw them both in against this Houston defense, ranked 31st against running backs, and they're just an all-around bad defense. It's like the Steelers are an all-around good defense. The Houston Texans are an all-around bad defense. They're just bad against pass, bad against run. So I say throw Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines in there if you have either of them. And then lastly, for running backs, you're going to be playing Miles Sanders. It's sad that I have to put Miles Sanders on this list because he should be a definite play each week, but he just unfortunately hasn't been. And it's been sad for me. I am a big Miles Sanders fan. I'm an Eagles fan, and I'm a big Miles Sanders owner in fantasy. And it's just been a frustrating season. He's kind of a fringe guy coming off last week. You're like, is he going to put up 5 to 10 points, or is he going to put up 18 to 25 points? You just don't really know. But this is definitely a week where Miles Sanders could put up big points. And maybe it's based on Carson Wentz having a horrible season and turnovers, and they just can't get their run game going. But I say get Miles Sanders in your lineup against Green Bay. They're ranked 30th against the run this season. And if there's a week where Miles Sanders can go off, this might be it. So get him in your lineup. And then we've got running backs you're going to sit, Todd Gurley or Brian Hill, whoever they play. If Todd Gurley can go, I say keep him out of your lineup. They're going against New Orleans, the number 1 ranked defense against running backs. And so it's just not going to be a good run game for Atlanta. And then we've got Antonio Gibson. I know, dodge the haters. Antonio Gibson has been amazing this season as a rookie, probably the best rookie running back so far. And he's been really solid, but he's going up against Pittsburgh. They have a really great run defense, and like I said earlier, they have a great all-around defense. So I don't see Alex Smith leading them into the red zone a lot for touchdown opportunities. So is Antonio Gibson going to get 100 to 150 yards on the ground against the Steelers defense? I don't think so. And he's not going to get a lot of red zone opportunities. So get this man out of your lineup in Week 13. This is probably my hottest take of them all. Maybe my hottest take of them all. And then we've got Kenyon Drake going up against the LA Rams, another really solid defense all around. Kenyon Drake hasn't been all that great this season. And going against this defense with Aaron Donald up front, Jalen Ramsey locking people down, I don't see Kenyon Drake having a big week, especially with Chase Edmonds siphoning off points from him. So with that, let's move on to wide receivers that you're going to be starting and sitting. First off, Marquise Brown for the Ravens. I know he has been a bust this season so far, just like 2020 has been a bust completely, just the year in general. But Marquise Brown is going against Dallas, and they are ranked 31st against wide receivers. And I think this is his week, if Lamar Jackson is playing, to have a big breakout game in 2020. So get Marquise Brown in your lineup. And then we've got Keelan Cole going against Minnesota. Keelan Cole has been, that receiver for the Jaguars, to where no matter what quarterback they put in, whether it's Gardner Minshew or Jake Luton or Mike Glennon, Keelan Cole just seems to find targets and get open and get some yards after catch, a few touchdowns here and there. So he's been a pretty solid receiver in 2020, and they're going up against Minnesota's defense, which is ranked 30th against wide receivers. So get Cole in your lineup. And lastly, this is my other probably really hot take. I don't know, I've got a few. No. We'll save the hot take for later. So lastly, play Michael Thomas this week. This is kind of like Miles Sanders, where it's like sad that I even have to bring him up as a fringe player. Like, maybe you should start him, maybe you shouldn't. Because everyone who got Michael Thomas on their team is probably like a first or second rounder. And you shouldn't have to be thinking of him as a fringe player, whether you should put him in or not. But coming off last week with like 9 points, with Taysom Hill at quarterback, you're not sure. I mean, if you have other players that might put up more points, if you've got like Curtis Samuel, it's like, should I play Curtis Samuel or Michael Thomas? Like, you shouldn't have to be asking yourself that, but you do. So I say Michael Thomas is a definite play this week, going against Atlanta's pass defense. They're ranked 29th against wide receivers, so this will be a good week for Michael Thomas. In Taysom Hill's first week behind center, they had a really strong connection, and I think this is going to be another week like that. So get Thomas into your lineup. And then quarterbacks, wide receivers, we are going to sit in Week 13. Amari Cooper, this is the hot take I wanted to get to. Amari Cooper going against the second-ranked Ravens defense against wide receivers. I think they're going to be keying on Amari Cooper and Michael Gallup and CeeDee Lamb. Dalton Schultz. I think those guys are going to get more of the passing game from Andy Dalton. So I don't think you should be playing Amari Cooper in Week 13. He has been pretty consistent for the Cowboys this season, but just against this Ravens defense, I don't see him putting up his best numbers. So, and then we've got Marvin Jones going against Chicago, another really solid defense against wide receivers. If Kenny Golladay isn't back, they're going to be keying on Marvin Jones, which, maybe he'll get more targets, but this is just a really good defense, and I don't see them putting up a bunch of yards or getting a bunch of red zone opportunities, especially since Matthew Stafford hasn't been great this season. No one on the Lions has really been great this season production-wise. Well, that's not true. TJ Hawkinson has been solid. He's been a good tight end. Lastly, for receivers, we got Juju Smith-Schuster going up against Washington. They are ranked 4th against wide receivers, and Chase Claypool and Deontay Johnson just seem to be the guys Big Ben is throwing to more often. They get better separation. They're more physically gifted than Juju Smith-Schuster. So I say leave him out of your lineup in Week 4 against Washington. They've got that really strong defense. And keep Juju out of your lineup in Week 13. Lastly, let's get to tight ends. We've got Mike Gesicki going against Cincinnati. Mike Gesicki had a pretty strong week in Week 12 going against the Cincinnati defense. He is a must-play. And then we've got Jonnu Smith going against Cleveland, ranked 29th against tight ends. And Jonnu Smith, I know I'm a big Jonnu Smith guy as well and have him in a lot of leagues, maybe all of my leagues. I might have him in every single league. And he put up a big donut for me, and for a bunch of you who own him, put up 0 last week when the team had a bunch of points. And you're just like, how does that even happen? But it happens. He should have a bounce-back week, though, against Cleveland. So get him in your lineups in Week 13. And then we've got Austin Hooper going against Buffalo, ranked 25th against tight ends. And he had a touchdown last week, has been coming on in the second portion of the season so far. So get Austin Hooper in your lineup going against Buffalo. And then tight ends, you're going to sit Logan Thomas, who has been a nice surprise for fantasy owners this season. But he's going against that Pittsburgh defense, ranked 1st against tight ends. So keep him out of your lineup. And then we've got Dawson. Actually, I just realized there's a theme to this. Don't play Alex Smith. Don't play Antonio Gibson. Don't play Logan Thomas. Did I have any Redskins receivers? I don't think I did. But Steelers defense is good. Other tight ends, Dawson Knox, don't play him in Week 13 going against San Francisco. Really strong against tight ends. He had a touchdown last week, but don't try and outsmart everyone and think that he's going to be building on this momentum. He's not. So keep Dawson Knox out of your lineup in Week 13. And lastly, we've got Jimmy Graham going against Detroit. He's just not getting as many targets as he did earlier in the season, Jimmy Graham. I think it's because they're working in Cole Kmet, the rookie, a bit more. And, the Bears just haven't been great second half of this season. So, fantasy season, anyway. So keep Jimmy Graham out of your lineup. He's not going to put up big numbers against this Detroit defense. It was just kind of their only bright spot on defenses against tight ends. So that is it for the Fantasy Academy Start Sit video Week 13. I hope you all have an amazing rest of the week. Be sure to give us a subscribe, like the video, and comment below. Let us know who you're definitely starting or sitting. Let me know what you disagree with that I said. Let me know what you agree with. Let's have some fun and have some conversation. But have fun, go win some championships. I'll see you next time.